Tenali Rennick is a field recordist, sound designer, and radio producer whose work bridges environmental listening, documentary art, and communal storytelling. Through his long-running projects Muddy Boots Radio and Sounds from the Rainbow, Rennick has spent over 23 years capturing and curating more than 1,600 field recordings from rainbow gatherings across the U.S. and abroad. His creative ethos blends ethnography with poetic reflection, using sound as a medium for empathy, memory, and connection. Rennick's books, Gathering Sounds and Gathering Sounds 2, extend his archival and artistic mission, inviting readers into the sonic and spiritual ecology of the Rainbow Family community. Deeply rooted in ideals of non-commercial creativity, environmental stewardship, and shared humanity, his work celebrates the transformative power of sound to dissolve boundaries between art, activism, and everyday life. Gathering Sounds 2, Field Recording with the Rainbow Family by Tenali Rennick, is a dreamlike ethnographic journey through sound, spirit, and community, chronicling over 2 decades of field recordings made at rainbow gatherings around the world. The book invites readers to wander through sound trails, aural vignettes, blending music, poetry, storytelling, and environmental soundscapes, to experience the gathering's spontaneous creativity and communal ethos firsthand. Mixing memoir, folklore, and poetic reflection, Rennick captures the ephemeral beauty of improvised art and collective living within nature's cathedral. The work explores themes of inner revolution, interconnectedness, and the healing power of sound and community, celebrating the Rainbow Family's ideals of peace, love, and non-commercial collaboration. Ultimately, it's both an archive and an invitation, a call to listen deeply, to awaken imagination, and to recognize that field recording, like gathering itself, is an act of shared presence and transformation. After the technical preliminaries, the book greets readers with a lyrical invocation rendered in archaic English: "Welcometh home again. It doth feel liketh coming home. I heareth thy eternal song. Thee and I art one." This short, chant-like stanza works simultaneously as dedication, epigraph, and blessing. It replaces the usual for X line with a communal welcome, inviting the reader into the collective circle of the Rainbow Family and signaling that this is not merely a text to be read but a homecoming to be felt. Illustrated by Balthazaha Glenda Wertree, the author's note grounds the project historically and philosophically. Rennick describes Sounds from the Rainbow, his 23-year field recording archive of more than 1,600 performances from gatherings worldwide, and situates Gathering Sounds 2 as a continuation of the earlier Gathering Sounds volume. He outlines his hybrid approach, part ethnography, part memoir, part creative nonfiction, while affirming the non-commercial, community-sharing ethos that defines both the recordings and the gatherings themselves. The note orients readers to expect a tapestry of voices, ambient sound, and narrative reflection rather than a conventional linear study. Flowing naturally out of the author's note, the listening note explains how to use the book. It tells readers that roughly 23 sound trail entries, and several decimal point diversions, correspond to real audio recordings freely accessible at gatheringsounds.org/2. The reader may listen in sequence or wander at will, echoing the meandering geography of an actual rainbow gathering. The passage emphasizes Creative Commons licensing, the presence of tweener outtakes, and the value of imperfection in live recording. In spirit and function, this is the book's true preface, an invitation to engage through active, open-ended listening. Before Part 1 formally begins, an illustrated lyrical passage, "Alloweth the way of the heart shineth through, loveth upon loveth upon loveth," appears with art credited to Round Robin. This prelude acts as a benediction and tone setter, merging visual and verbal art to prepare the reader for the dreamlike rhythm ahead. It functions as a threshold moment, the transformation from prefatory ritual into narrative experience. The imagery of heartlight and circular motion foreshadows the book's key motifs of love, renewal, and cyclical time. Part 1, a sound trail, functions as both a travelogue and an ethnographic sound diary, inviting readers and listeners to journey through the auditory landscapes of rainbow gatherings across decades and continents. Blending lyrical prose, field notes, and poetic reflection, it documents over 20 sound trails, recorded moments of songs, chants, storytelling, and ambient soundscapes that together form a living archive of communal creativity and spiritual expression. Each recording becomes a vignette, from the rain-soaked harmonies of rock dove song and the communal anthems of Building a Bridge, to intimate campfire performances like Sarah, Where Do You Think You Will Be? And Human, Simple Ways. Rennick treats these sonic fragments as both art and anthropology, celebrating imperfection, spontaneity, and the egalitarian ethos of rainbow culture, where everyone can sing, speak, or share. A sound trail thus transforms field recording into a meditative act of listening, revealing a world where music, nature, and fellowship merge into a sacred, ever-changing harmony of human and environmental sound. Your guide to sound trails, too, serves as an introduction and orientation to Part 1, A Sound Trail, inviting readers into a journey through an imaginative and documentary soundscape of rainbow gatherings. Tenali explains that the sound trails are curated entries drawn from over 1,600 field recordings, snapshots of music, poetry, storytelling, and ambient sounds collected over more than 2 decades. Each entry blends art, description, and reflection, presenting the diversity of voices and creative expressions that define these gatherings, from the amateur to the experienced performer. The guide emphasizes the open, improvisational, and communal ethos of rainbow culture, where sound and storytelling flow freely like a meandering trail through the woods. Rennick frames the project as both a creative archive and a celebration of impermanence, encouraging readers to listen deeply, wander curiously, and engage with the recordings as living artifacts of connection, spirituality, and shared artistic play, all freely available under a Creative Commons license. Map as it is. It is a PAM, acts as a whimsical and poetic interlude in Part 1, A Sound Trail, reflecting Tenali's experimental blending of language, sound, and perception. Presented like a riddle or chant, eeny, meeny, miny, map, it playfully reverses the phrase map as it is a PAM, emphasizing the mirror-like, non-linear, and dream-infused nature of the journey ahead. This section symbolizes how the map of the book, and of rainbow gatherings themselves, is not a fixed guide but a fluid, participatory experience, one that invites readers to lose and rediscover direction. By invoking wordplay and childlike rhythm, Rennick suggests that mapping the rainbow soundscape is less about geography and more about attunement, trusting intuition, imagination, and listening as navigational tools. The map thus becomes both literal and metaphoric, a playful compass pointing toward openness, chance, and the interconnectedness of all trails. Stitch and Witch, Rock Dove Song recounts a rain-soaked evening at the 2023 New Hampshire Rainbow Gathering, where a small group of kindred spirits huddled beneath tarps by the Ammonoosuc River to share music, warmth, and tea. The author describes the forest's lush, mosquito-laden terrain and the camp's playful nicknames: the Bog of Mild Inconvenience, the Bridge to Nowhere, the Pond of Danger, capturing the community's humor and resilience amid soggy conditions. The featured song, Rock Dove Song, led by Average Joey, the poet with a banjo, is performed in a round, blending voices, rain, and the eerie shimmer of a musical saw. Rennick reflects on the serendipity of field recording, where imperfections, the dripping rain, the hiss of wet firewood, become part of the music's charm, transforming environmental noise into texture. The piece embodies the spirit of the rainbow gatherings, communal creativity, adaptability, and joy found in imperfection, where every drop of rain adds its own note to the song. Raccoon, Nature's Cathedral captures a campfire performance by the folk musician Raccoon at the 2001 Idaho Rainbow Gathering in the Boise National Forest. Set in a place aptly dubbed the San Francisco Theater, where the only stage was the glow of a campfire, the scene evokes intimacy and reverence as dozens of listeners gather under the stars. Raccoon's song, Nature's Cathedral, celebrates the sacredness of the natural world as a place of worship and renewal, where rivers, eagles, and fire become spiritual symbols of freedom and self-discovery. Rennick's reflection draws parallels between the song's transcendental spirit and the writings of Thoreau and Emerson, framing nature as both sanctuary and teacher. Through poetic lyrics and gentle guitar, the piece conveys a longing for simplicity and harmony with the earth. The recording itself, complete with background campfire chatter, distant drums, and a few imperfect sounds, embodies the authenticity and raw beauty of rainbow gatherings, where music and environment merge into a living act of communion. Deja, Nicola, Sasha, Nastasia, Tina, and Lucy, Building a Bridge chronicles a luminous evening of women's music at the 2004 California Rainbow Gathering, recorded after a Shabbat dinner at Jerusalem camp. A group of women, singing with harmonium, djembe, shekere, and guitar, perform the chant Building a Bridge, a song of unity, love, and collective empowerment. Rennick reflects on how the music becomes both a metaphor and a lived expression of connection, bridges built not of stone but of shared voices, empathy, and creative collaboration. The performance radiates inclusivity and solidarity, embodying rainbow culture's ideals of cooperation and mutual aid, even amid its flaws. The song's refrain, "We are building a bridge across the land, music is the language we understand," encapsulates the rainbow spirit of transcendence through sound, suggesting that music itself is the bridge between difference, spirit, and community. For Rennick, this recording stands among the most moving in the archive, a testament to the transformative power of collective song in cultivating harmony and belonging. Free Range Pickers, St. Anne's Reel describes a spontaneous, joyful musical jam recorded at the 2006 Colorado Rainbow Gathering in the Root National Forest near Clark, Colorado. The Free Range Pickers, a duo named Chris and Julie, were joined by other musicians, including Henry the Fiddler, Peggy on washtub bass, and Emerald Otter on flute, in a lively pre-dinner session at the musical Veggie Kitchen. Their impromptu rendition of the traditional Irish reel St. Anne's Reel captures the exuberant, communal spirit of the gathering, merging old-world folk vitality with rainbow spontaneity. The 2-minute recording brims with laughter, clatter, and instrumental interplay, later spliced with an outtake from a Balinese-style monkey chant led by Fantuzzi at Granola Funk Theater. Rennick uses this vignette to celebrate music's role as both nourishment and play, transforming waiting for dinner into a brief moment of shared euphoria, where the boundaries between audience, performer, and environment dissolve into one improvisational flow. Shine Delphi, If I Come Back Home centers on a heartfelt live performance by Shine Delphi at the 2013 Montana Rainbow Gathering, recorded during the July 4th variety show at Granola Funk Theater. The song, If I Come Back Home, is a tender meditation on longing, memory, and return, rooted in Shine's reflections about his late grandfather, a sailor and Navy veteran whose passing opened a space of emotional vulnerability and connection. The lyrics explore the dual pull of wanderlust and belonging, wondering whether love and home will remain when one returns from life's journeys. Rennick's accompanying prose celebrates the performance's intimacy, where natural elements like a chirping cricket and the audience's collective singing merge seamlessly into the soundscape, embodying the spontaneous harmony of rainbow gatherings. The piece becomes a tribute to intergenerational love, the healing power of song, and the beauty of shared vulnerability, what Shine himself calls the recording of my dream coming true, as the crowd sings along to the chorus he once imagined alone. Sarah, Where Do You Think You Will Be? Captures an intimate and poetic performance by Sarah at the 2006 Colorado Rainbow Gathering, during the July 3rd open mic night at Popcorner, hosted by Diamond Dave. Her song, a sung adaptation of a poem inspired by the 14th century Persian mystic Hafez, blends spirituality, humor, and lyrical imagery, weaving lines about mountains, clouds, and sunlight into a meditative reflection on existence and interconnectedness. Rennick contextualizes Hafez's influence, noting both the mystical essence of his poetry and the interpretive liberties of modern translators like Daniel Ladinsky, framing Sarah's version as a living reinterpretation of timeless wisdom. The performance itself, set to the soft crackle of a campfire and the murmurs of a cheerful audience sipping chai and eating popcorn, evokes the sacred yet playful atmosphere of rainbow gatherings. The field recording, complete with background laughter, snaps, and fading ukulele strums, preserves the fleeting magic of that night, where poetry, song, and nature converged into what Rennick calls a sibylline essence of collective wonder and warmth. John Cora de la Noche documents a serene late-night campfire performance recorded at the 2005 Mexico Rainbow Gathering in the Sierra de los Tuxtlas near Catemaco. Under a waning crescent moon, John plays the cora, a West African harp lute, accompanied by an improvised harmony vocal, as a few gatherers relax near the bakery ovens. The recording becomes a delicate interplay between human music and the elements. The wind gusts so powerfully that it nearly overpowers the sound waves, creating a dynamic tension between nature and melody. Rennick marvels at this battle of vibrations, where chance environmental sounds enhance the piece's organic authenticity. Ultimately, the cora and voice prevail, their soft resonance cutting through the wind like a lullaby to the forest. The moment closes with a whimsical segue into a Renaissance-style chant to Pachamama, sung by two characters humorously named Gildan Slitrench and Rosencompost, blending reverence and play. The scene exemplifies the rainbow ethos, music as communion between earth, wind, and spirit, where imperfection and magic coexist in perfect harmony. Shams, Stew Song takes place at the 2017 Oregon Rainbow Gathering in the Malheur National Forest near John Day, where musician Shams, also known as Dumpster Joe, performs a playful yet soulful tune about love, food, and togetherness. Recorded late one evening at the Story Glory tent, after a night of making rose-flavored brownies, the song features Shams on vocals and guitar, weaving the act of cooking stew into a metaphor for human connection and patience. Rennick reflects on the deep communal meaning of food sharing within rainbow culture, describing it as one of the gathering's most sacred and joyful acts. The performance also serves as a tribute to Rennick's late friend Shani, a beloved cook and musician who had inspired this session and embodied the gathering's spirit of humor, humility, and generosity. Blending folk traditions with sensory imagery, Stew Song becomes one part unrequited love and one part food prep, a warm reminder that both cooking and music nourish the soul when shared among friends beneath the forest canopy. Host the Clamp is a brief, poetic interlude in Part 1, a sound trail, serving as a meditative pause between longer musical narratives. Accompanied by minimalist verse and abstract imagery, steel serpent grips tight, whispering ripples do flow, scent of petrichor it reads like a haiku about water, flow, and grounding. The title itself, Hose the Clamp, humorously evokes both the practical realities of camp life, fixing hoses, managing water systems, and the deeper metaphor of connection and release, mirroring the Rainbow Gathering's balance of earthy logistics and spiritual reflection. Positioned between more elaborate recordings, this short piece functions as a sensory snapshot, a reminder that sound, rhythm, and poetry can arise even in mundane acts, where the hiss of water and scent of rain become their own quiet symphony of presence and impermanence. G-Funk Collective, Tea Time captures the vibrant chaos and communal joy of the 2009 New Mexico Rainbow Gathering, recorded during the Granola Funk Super Dance Party Prom Revolution Night on July 2. The G-Funk Collective, an eclectic mix of musicians wielding everything from banjos and fiddles to trombones, didgeridoos and drum kits, ignite a jubilant, anarchic celebration that merges theater, parade, and dance into one exuberant happening. Drawing inspiration from Alice in Wonderland's Mad Hatter's Tea Party, the event blurs fantasy and reality as costumed gatherers swirl around the dinner circle in playful mayhem. The song Tea Time becomes both anthem and invitation, a call to leave behind structure and sink into the eternal moment of community, rhythm, and absurdity. Rennick marvels at how this recording epitomizes the heart of Rainbow's creative spirit, where spontaneous collaboration and joyful disorder fuse into transcendence, and notes that, for one electric night, everything just came together, everywhere, all with spunk. Tree and Mohan, Rise recounts an uplifting performance recorded at the 2022 Colorado Rainbow Gathering in the Medicine Bow Root National Forest near Hayden. Performed at the July 4th variety show at Granola Funk Theater, the song Rise by Tree and Mohan radiates a spirit of collective resilience and joy, reminiscent of the 1990s rainbow folk chant tradition. Built around simple, mantra-like lyrics, we are tending to the sacred fire of our hearts, we are dancing around the flames of joy and peace. The song celebrates harmony, truth, and perseverance through dark times, invoking rainbow light as a symbol of unity and hope. Rennick describes the performance as both grounding and transcendent, a reminder of the communal energy that defines rainbow gatherings, voices rising together around the sacred fire, embodying the power of song to heal, inspire, and connect. The piece closes with a touch of whimsy, likening the unannounced performance to a woodpecker pecking above your tent at 6 a.m., an image capturing the spontaneous and life-affirming magic of the moment. Sugra, agriculture song, depicts a light-hearted and communal moment from the 2009 10th New Zealand World Rainbow Gathering in the Tasman region of the South Island, where juggler and storyteller Sugra performs the humorous folk tune Agriculture Song at the Whatever It Is, I'm Against It bakery near the gathering's close. Surrounded by friends sharing laughter around an oven, Sugra delivers a playful rendition of the traditional song There Once Was a Farmer, full of clever wordplay and suggestive mind rhymes that invite the audience to fill in the blanks. Rennick situates the performance within a long oral tradition of bawdy, pun-filled folk songs, where meaning depends on the listener's imagination, and celebrates Sugra's gift for turning simple humor into shared connection. The recording, punctuated by giggles, crackling fire, and ambient warmth, captures the quintessential rainbow spirit, joy through storytelling, wit, and improvisation, where music, laughter, and community feed the soul as much as any meal. Shanty Star, Pause documents a serene, soulful performance recorded at the 2002 Michigan Rainbow Gathering in the Ottawa National Forest near Watersmeet, featuring Shanty Star on guitar and vocals, Andius on upright bass, and an unnamed musician playing the gyro. The song, titled Pause, Spanish for peace, opens with playful audience participation, listeners imitating animal sounds before melting into a velvety, Latin-infused groove. The repeated refrain Queremos paz, we want peace, serves as both mantra and message, embodying the Rainbow Gathering's ethos of unity, hope, and collective prayer. Rennick situates the song within the July 4th Prayer for Peace, an annual rainbow tradition of silent meditation and connection, interpreting it as both a spiritual and social act, an ongoing commitment to live, not just rest, in peace. He expands on the broader meaning of peace, linking it to justice, equity, and compassion, and concludes that while music alone may not end conflict, songs like Pause help sustain courage, community, and the long struggle for harmony in the world. Tahira and Jairus, Ecstasy recounts a spontaneous and joy-filled campfire performance recorded at the 2008 Wyoming Rainbow Gathering in the Bridger-Teton National Forest near Pinedale. Performed by Tahira and Jairus at Montana Camp, the song Ecstasy captures the playful yet heartfelt atmosphere of late-night gatherings, where music and laughter ripple through the forest. The lyrics, centered on freedom, friendship, and emotional openness, celebrate living fully in the moment. I might laugh, I might shout, but I can't deny what feels good to me. The recording brims with warmth and spontaneity, complete with giggles, applause, and a bystander exclaiming, "God damn. This is in the middle of the woods, folks." Rennick frames the song as a perfect example of rainbow magic, where impromptu creativity and community merge into blissful togetherness. The performance dissolves into a group chant, "We art circling together, transforming individual expression into collective harmony, a living embodiment of ecstasy through unity and sound." La Vida Dalsha, You Are My Sunshine captures a jubilant yet tender performance by the group La Vida Dalsha at the 2013 Montana Rainbow Gathering in the Beaverhead National Forest near Jackson, during the July 4th variety show at Granola Funk Theater. Their rendition of the classic American folk song You Are My Sunshine transforms a familiar tune into a communal celebration of love, nostalgia, and resilience. Featuring a lively ensemble, banjo, fiddle, washboard, mandolin, and resonator guitar, the song unfolds with heartfelt harmonies and audience participation, blending joy and melancholy as the crowd sings along. Rennick contextualizes the piece as both a cultural touchstone and a metaphor for the rainbow spirit, a reminder of how simple, shared music can illuminate dark times. In a playful twist, the group ends by replacing sunshine with moonshine, infusing the performance with humor and ambiguity while honoring the song's bittersweet roots. For Rennick, this version epitomizes the gathering's essence: collective warmth, spontaneous creativity, and the power of music to bind strangers into family beneath the open sky. Owl Night Lake 3 unfolds as an immersive nocturnal soundscape recorded at the 2019 Wisconsin Rainbow Gathering in the Chequamegon-Nicolet National Forest near Iron River. Rennick describes walking near Steelhead Lake during seed camp to capture the forest's living symphony, crickets, frogs, and the haunting calls of barred owls engaged in their courtship duet. The piece blends field recording with poetic reflection, celebrating the natural world as both musical and mystical. The barred owl's rhythmic "Who cooks for you? Who cooks for you all?" becomes, to Rennick, a kind of folk song, a bluesy call of wild wisdom that connects ecology, folklore, and cosmic humor. Layered with reflections on owl symbolism across cultures, the recording transforms into an ode to deep listening, inviting the audience to attune to the subtle frequency of the forest. Through attentive recording and lyrical prose, Owl Night Lake 3 captures the mystery, intimacy, and interconnectedness that define the rainbow spirit, turning the Wisconsin woods into what Rennick calls a cathedral of sound and night. Angela, Om Shalom Salam describes a tranquil, spiritually resonant performance recorded at the 2002 Michigan Rainbow Gathering in the Ottawa National Forest near Watersmeet, during an evening of song sharing at Jerusalem Camp. Led by Angela on harp, with Andius on upright bass, the piece Om Shalom Salam merges Hebrew, shalom, Arabic, salam, and Sanskrit, om, words for peace into a meditative chant that embodies universal harmony. The song's cyclical repetition and gentle instrumentation evoke the sound of the universe itself, suggesting that all vibrations lead back to Om, the primordial resonance of creation. Rennick reflects on how the performance, surrounded by the crackle of the campfire and the hush of attentive listeners, exemplifies the Rainbow Gathering's ethos of spiritual inclusivity, bridging languages, cultures, and traditions through music. The scene radiates serenity and reverence, transforming the forest into a living temple of peace where, as Rennick writes, all sounds lead to Om, and may such vibrations bring peace to all. Donhal, Cosas Bellas captures a dreamy, bilingual love song performed and recorded at the 2017 Costa Rica Rainbow Gathering near the Chiriquí Nuevo River. Sung in Spanish and English, Cosas Bellas, Beautiful Things, blends tender romantic imagery, mountain air, moonlight, birdsong, with an undercurrent of longing and hope for peace in a world at war. Accompanied by soft guitar and ambient night sounds of crickets and running water, Donhal's performance radiates intimacy and emotional honesty, his voice weaving seamlessly with the natural soundscape. Rennick celebrates the song's balance between melancholy and wonder, where personal love becomes a reflection of universal beauty and connection. The section's second half transitions into a companion blues piece, Blue Moonlight Blues, sung by Hemlock Hansel, extending the mood into a meditation on love, loss, and moonlit reflection. Together, they form a serene diptych of heart and nature, an audible snapshot of rainbow's global reach and the timeless power of song to turn solitude into communion beneath the stars. Nada Bindu, Mystery recounts a mesmerizing performance by the group Nada Bindu, recorded at the 2001 Idaho Rainbow Gathering in the Boise National Forest near Stanley. Blending North African and Middle Eastern musical traditions, the ensemble, featuring Robbie on oud and vocals, Sam on clarinet and percussion, and Carlito on darbuka, creates a hypnotic groove filled with rich harmonies and rhythmic intricacy. The song's title, Mystery, reflects both its elusive origins and its spiritual depth. Robbie learned it during his travels through North Africa, possibly as a Nubian frame drum song from Upper Egypt. The lyrics, phonetically rendered as Y Sama Hin Noba, remain linguistically enigmatic, perhaps rooted in Nobian, an ancient Nubian language. Rennick reflects that while the words may resist translation, their beauty lies in the act of listening with devotion, where meaning transcends language and dwells in sound itself. Through this recording, Mystery becomes both a meditation on the universality of music and a celebration of the ineffable, capturing the rainbow ideal that spirit and sound are inseparable threads in the tapestry of human connection. OOOO is a playful campfire interplanetary mission safety meeting, CISM, interlude featuring the instrumental duet Campfire Strings 1 by Tom and Juice, recorded late at night at the 2021 Pennsylvania Prism Rainbow Gathering in the Allegheny National Forest near Ridgeway, and issued on the Pennsylvania Prism 2021 compilation. The scene is intimate and headphone-worthy. The mic sits equidistant between the two guitarists, yielding rich stereo imaging as their lines intertwine and flow like two adjoining streams, soft as moss and smooth as clay. The piece carries the wink of rainbow wisdom. The Maypath is not the tree and closes with a whimsical theater of the mind joke about a traveler, the Sandman, and our remarkable adventures, underscoring the section's role as a gentle reset on the trail before the journey continues. Lydia and Shanda Panda, Umoja recounts a heartfelt, communal performance recorded at the 2000 Montana Rainbow Gathering in the Beaverhead National Forest near Jackson, marking one of Tenali's earliest field recordings. The song Umoja, derived from the Swahili word umoja, meaning unity, was written by Lydia in 1999 and performed with Shanda Panda and an impromptu circle of singers and percussionists. The piece embodies the spirit of solidarity, cooperation, and love that defines rainbow gatherings, transforming the night into a living expression of collective harmony. Rennick joined in on an udu drum, adding its deep, resonant tones to the mix, and reflects on how the organic layering of voices and rhythms enveloped the forest in warmth and togetherness. The result is a recording that pulses with inclusivity and joy, a sonic testament to the power of music as both ritual and bonding, where every beat and voice merges into a unified heartbeat of community. Rocker T, Rainbow Country captures an exuberant and heart-centered moment, recorded at the 2003 Utah Rainbow Gathering in the Bridger-Teton National Forest near Mountain View, Wyoming, later featured on the Utah 2003 Leftovers 3 compilation. The performance took place on July 2 at a camp known variously as Devapu, Kikadeva, or Clandestino Kitchen, where Rocker T and a crew of musicians delivered a lively campfire session infused with reggae rhythms, joyful chanting, and community spirit. The scene blended music, chai, baked sweets, and laughter, radiating a sense of shared bliss and togetherness. Rennick reflects on the experience through the lens of awe, citing Dacher Keltner's notion that awe arises from encountering something vast that transcends understanding, perfectly describing the campfire's magic that night. The song Rainbow Country itself is an upbeat fusion of reggae and rainbow heart song, celebrating spiritual awakening and communal unity through affirming lyrics like "I'm going to bless my temple and be the best that I can be." The performance encapsulates the ecstatic beauty and inclusivity that define the rainbow ethos, where music, love, and awe converge under the stars into a single radiant vibration of joy. Podank, Birnanernir recounts a rollicking snow-swirled jam session recorded at the 2003 Utah Rainbow Gathering in the Bridger-Teton National Forest near Mountain View, Wyoming. Tenali describes stumbling upon the performance by Podank, a short-lived but beloved Oklahoma-based band, while trudging through over a foot of snow, a hoedown in the blowdown. Despite blizzard conditions, the group's fiery punkgrass energy, a mashup of bluegrass picking, talkin' blues, and punk irreverence, lit up the frozen night. The song Birnanernir bursts with exuberant repetition, tight vocal interplay, and thumping bass, radiating warmth that made listeners forget the cold. Rennick compares their style to the eccentric wit of Ween and the instrumental prowess of the Foggy Mountain Boys, noting that their campfire performances became legendary that year. The piece exemplifies the rainbow spirit of resilience, humor, and joy, where music thrives against all odds, even in a snowstorm, transforming hardship into a celebration of sound, laughter, and life. Raggedy Ann, Make Believe portrays a tender and introspective performance recorded at the 2008 Wyoming Rainbow Gathering in the Bridger-Teton National Forest near Pinedale, during a July 3 spoken word and open mic night hosted by Diamond Dave at Popcorner Camp. Performed by Raggedy Ann, the song Make Believe blurs the line between dream and waking life, exploring imagination, memory, and the childlike wonder that adulthood often forgets. Rennick reflects on Make Believe as both a playful creative act and a deeper spiritual practice, an acknowledgement that life itself is a kind of collective dream. The song's dreamy, poetic lyrics invite listeners to reconnect with the innocence and curiosity of their inner child, while its soft acoustic tone and the warm communal setting of the campfire lend the performance a nostalgic intimacy. Surrounded by laughter, s'mores, and remembrance of a recently passed friend, the moment becomes both elegy and celebration, a reminder that imagination, love, and memory are the threads that bind the Rainbow family together, even across loss and time. Stilts, Guitar and Melodica recounts a spontaneous, trailside musical encounter that perfectly captures the serendipitous magic of rainbow gatherings. Recorded at the 2000 Montana Annual Rainbow Gathering in the Beaverhead National Forest near Jackson, this brief but enchanting improvisation unfolded when Tenali, out recording ambient footsteps near Lovin' Ovens, was approached by a band he'd met earlier called Stilts. Without any planning, the musicians offered to play a tune as they all walked together, their guitar and melodica lines intertwining in gentle rhythm with their footsteps, creating a soundscape that feels like movement itself. Rennick reflects that the experience epitomizes why he loves field recording, music emerging naturally from connection, curiosity, and presence. The section then drifts whimsically into a botanical fantasy about the Wattobringia togatheringensis, a mythical, talking plant that recites practical packing lists and poetic wisdom, blurring ecology, imagination, and humor into one seamless field of play. Joy, Hot Potato captures a playful, community-energizing performance recorded at the 2012 Tennessee Rainbow Gathering in the Cherokee National Forest near Greasy Creek, during the Granola Funk Theater variety show. Performed by Joy, the song Hot Potato is an exuberant, call-and-response tune that mixes children's play song energy with an improvisational rainbow twist. Accompanied by hand drums, clapping, and laughter, the performance becomes a spontaneous game and musical jam rolled into one, symbolizing the rainbow ethos of shared fun, participation, and creative chaos. Rennick describes the moment as a reminder that joy and silliness are sacred acts too, bridges to connection that dissolve self-consciousness and hierarchy. Through the communal repetition of Hot Potato, Pass It Around, the group embodies the flow of generosity and presence, passing not just an imaginary potato but a rhythm of love, laughter, and inclusion. The result is both absurd and profound, an improvised hymn to playfulness itself, reminding everyone that enlightenment can arrive just as easily through laughter as through song. Michael, Inner Revolution features a reflective, soul-stirring performance recorded at the 2004 California Rainbow Gathering in the Modoc National Forest near Likely, during a late-night campfire circle at Popcorner on July 3, just before the traditional July 4th silence. Performed by Michael, the song Inner Revolution is a meditative folk anthem calling listeners to look inward, to confront their own patterns, cultivate compassion, and awaken to authenticity as a means of transforming the world. Accompanied by a softly buzzing guitar, its imperfections adding texture rather than flaw, Michael's warm, contemplative voice creates an atmosphere of calm revelation, blending personal reflection with collective resonance. Rennick interprets the piece as both spiritual guidance and psychological insight, describing inner revolution as a metamorphosis akin to a caterpillar's transformation, messy, necessary, and ultimately liberating. The recording, surrounded by crackling fire and quiet attentiveness, captures the rainbow ideal of evolution through awareness, illustrating how simple campfire songs can become catalysts for awakening and shared humanity. Shiloh Circle, Cream on Me offers a cheeky and laughter-filled glimpse into the playful side of rainbow culture. Recorded at the 2013 Montana Annual Rainbow Gathering in the Beaverhead National Forest near Jackson, and featured on the Montana 2013 compilation, this track is a bawdy parody of Bill Withers' Lean on Me. Retitled Cream on Me, the song by Shiloh Circle transforms the soulful classic into a risque, tongue-in-cheek sing-along full of sexual puns and campfire humor, an example of what Tenali calls rainbow-fied Weird Al-style remixes. The lyrics, irreverent yet communal, spark a raucous crowd response, blurring the line between music and comedy. Following the song, the section segues into another euphemistic anthem, We Art Opening Up, by Kinky Lear and Flashy Falstaff, turning the body energy toward spiritual playfulness and collective awakening. Together, these performances embody the Rainbow Gathering's embrace of humor, transformation, and uninhibited expression, where parody becomes prayer and laughter, a form of connection. A. Possibility, Starling plus, B. Jerome, cycles bridges the poetic and philosophical dimensions of rainbow gatherings through two deeply reflective spoken word performances. Recorded at open mic/spoken word events hosted by Diamond Dave at Popcorner Camp. Starling by Possibility, 2006 Colorado gathering, channels the spirit of outlaw poetry, echoing the Beat Generation's raw honesty and social critique. With rhythmic flow and vivid metaphor, Possibility delivers verses about evolution, resistance, and sovereignty. We are sovereign. Embarking on epic journeys from day two when it's darkened, urging self-realization amid chaos. Cycles by Jerome McGeorge, 2011 Washington gathering, follows as a contemplative counterpart, a visionary poem on life's circular rhythms, impermanence, and renewal, performed before a rapt campfire audience sipping chai and sharing popcorn. Together, these recordings embody Rainbow's fusion of art, activism, and community, turning poetry into collective meditation, a tapestry of radical empathy, humor, and human truth woven beneath the forest canopy. Toolute serves as a brief, poetic interlude between longer musical narratives, distilling the essence of the book into a few meditative lines. Preceded by a mystical poem about imagination and the unseen, To Pierce the Veil is Our Prayer. This entry pairs with art by Rutram Mercher and reads as a reflection on the creative power of making and chance. The phrase, "Tools come to Rollick, forging worlds with sturdy hands, artisans of chance," evokes both the literal tools used in camp life and the metaphorical tools of art, sound, and imagination that shape the rainbow experience. Rennick uses the brevity and rhythm of verse to honor the improvisational craftsmanship of the gatherings, the idea that everyone, through laughter, song, and labor, becomes a co-creator in the communal world being built. Toolute thus stands as a quiet ode to human creativity, to the tools we wield, the worlds we forge, and the serendipity that guides the making. Bonobo Hobo's Three-Ring Freak Show, Lovin' You recounts one of the most surreal and visually striking performances in the book, recorded at the 2012 Tennessee Annual Rainbow Gathering in the Cherokee National Forest near Bluff City, during the July 4th variety show at Granola Funk Theater. The act, part of Bonobo Hobo's eccentric cabaret, featured an unnamed performer dubbed Tinkerbox, a tin-covered, wind-up, face-painted clown who played a toy piano beneath a pyramid-shaped stage wrapped in white fabric, evoking the 2012 Mayan prophecy. Amidst shadow puppetry, insect drones, and popcorn delivered by zipline from Popcorner Camp, Tinkerbox delivered a bizarre, haunting rendition of Minnie Riperton's Lovin' You. The performance blended tenderness and absurdity, part steampunk automaton, part psychedelic theater, as the audience watched this music box come to life, only to wind down and be wound up again. Rennick describes the scene as both alien and mesmerizing, a fusion of sensuality, humor, and avant-garde artistry that perfectly encapsulates the Rainbow Gathering's ethos of creativity through play, transformation, and fearless self-expression. Chauvin, Song for the Moon captures a spellbinding, unaccompanied performance recorded at the 2008 Wyoming Rainbow Gathering in the Bridger-Teton National Forest near Pinedale, during a July 1st open mic night at Granola Funk Theater. Performed by Chauvin, Song for the Moon is a luminous, devotional ode to the moon as muse, guide, and enchantress, an expression of reverence for the natural cycles that shape human emotion and creativity. Sung with clarity and warmth, Chauvin's voice fills the night air with gratitude and awe, celebrating the moon as the queen of the night sky whose light inspires dance, love, and transformation. Rennick pairs this ethereal performance with a playful fictional aside about a mythical psychoactive plant, the Italus batima, whose visionary effects foster unity and insight, underscoring the connection between music, mysticism, and nature's hidden magic. Together, the song and the imaginative commentary form a poetic meditation on illumination and wonder, revealing how the Rainbow Gathering transforms even a simple song into a shared ritual of beauty and transcendence beneath the stars. Tessa, It Could Be So Easy features a tender, introspective song recorded at the 2022 Colorado Rainbow Gathering in the Medicine Bow Route National Forest near Hayden, performed by Tessa during the July 4th variety show at Granola Funk Theater. The song, It Could Be So Easy, is a gentle folk meditation on love, vulnerability, and the longing for a simpler, more compassionate way of being, both personally and collectively. With a soft, quivering voice and minimalist guitar accompaniment, Tessa delivers a message of hope amid the world's chaos, suggesting that peace and understanding are within reach if we allow ourselves to soften. Rennick highlights how her understated performance, surrounded by flickering lanterns and quiet attentiveness, created a moment of stillness and connection, a sonic balm amid the festival's exuberance. The piece, both wistful and affirming, encapsulates the Rainbow Gathering's central ideal, that harmony is not an abstraction but a lived possibility, as fragile and luminous as a song shared beneath an open sky. Human, Simple Ways captures a heartfelt, homespun performance recorded at the 2009 New Mexico Rainbow Gathering in the Santa Fe National Forest near Cuba, during an evening jam at Funkapoo Knoll. Performed by Human, a beloved rainbow troubadour, accompanied by Brockle on fiddle and other friends on banjo, percussion and vocals, Simple Ways is an ode to rural living, contentment, and gratitude for the natural world. The song celebrates small joys, planting gardens, watching hawks fly, feeling rivers run free, drawing on the Americana folk tradition of John Prine, Emmylou Harris, and Graham Parsons. Rennick recalls the evening as one of warmth and ease, filled with popcorn, chai, laughter, and firelight, and he reflects on Human's gift for sincerity and storytelling. The performance unfolds like a living campfire hymn to humility and beauty in everyday life, culminating in the sight of a double rainbow that appeared during the gathering's July 4th prayer for peace, a perfect symbol, Rennick notes, of the song's message, that joy, simplicity, and wonder are the truest measures of abundance. The Tea Fairy, Mapping the Source presents an entrancing fusion of psychedelic poetry, visionary insight, and mindful reflection, recorded at the 2017 Oregon Rainbow Gathering in the Malheur National Forest near John Day. In this piece, the Tea Fairy performs her epic poem Mapping the Source, a lyrical meditation on consciousness, illusion, and unity, amid a quiet meadow, with only birdsong and faint echoes of the gathering as accompaniment. Tenali describes the poem as a hybrid of Lewis Carroll whimsy, speculative fiction, psychedelic cartography, and spiritual guidance, unfolding as a playful yet profound map of the inner landscape. Its verses celebrate paradox and self-realization. The center is everywhere. You are the light, encouraging listeners to enter into the infinite through awareness and imagination. The performance embodies the rainbow ethos of introspective adventure and creative mysticism, inviting participants to journey inward as an act of cosmic participation. Ultimately, Mapping the Source serves as both a poem and a transmission, a radiant convergence of art, philosophy, and psychedelic wonder that reflects the heart of rainbow spirituality, love as the flowing source of all creation. MJ, Love is Divine recounts a transcendent, late-night performance recorded at the 2000 Montana Rainbow Gathering in the Beaverhead National Forest near Jackson, during the July 4th variety show at Granola Funk Theater, around 4:20 a.m. Performed by MJ on guitar and vocals with the Gia Funk House Band, the song Love is Divine unfolds as a devotional hymn to the sacred feminine and to the eternal, unifying power of love. Its verses, invoking the goddess shining song of the ages, radiate warmth and reverence, while the instrumentation, flute, upright bass, gentle percussion, builds a slow, hypnotic groove that swells into a collective chant of ecstatic unity. Rennick describes the moment as one of pure, shared transcendence, when nearly everyone joined in singing the refrain "Your love is divine," their voices blending with the night air in a luminous, spiritual crescendo. The piece reflects the Rainbow Gathering's synthesis of music, mysticism, and community, turning a simple song into an act of communion and healing, a remembrance that love, in its highest form, is both the path and the destination. Blessed Spring in the Sky serves as a brief yet luminous poetic interlude that merges childlike wonder with ecological reverence. Accompanied by artwork from Grim Frost and Earthy Color, the scene unfolds like a lucid dream, a dream within a dream within a dream where families sit together, joyfully reciting a clapping rhyme under an open sky. The verse, Blessed Spring in the Sky, life's crucial ally, you float way up high, Without You, We Die honors water and the atmosphere as sacred sources of life, binding the cosmic and the everyday in playful gratitude. Rennick frames the moment as both imaginative and elemental, a microcosm of the rainbow ethos where creativity, spirituality, and environmental consciousness seamlessly intertwine. Blessed Spring in the Sky thus becomes a kind of eco-prayer disguised as a playground song, inviting readers to rediscover reverence through simplicity, rhythm, and the shared heartbeat of community beneath the living sky. Mandolin, Violin Fiddle Dream describes a mesmerizing late-night instrumental performance recorded at the 2010 Pennsylvania Rainbow Gathering in the Allegheny National Forest near Sheffield, and later included on the Pennsylvania 2010 compilation. The piece, performed by Mandolin, is a trance-like fiddle improvisation that captivated hundreds gathered at Granola Funk Theater during an open mic night on July 1. Rennick recalls how the audience fell into a collective hush as the bow's hypnotic tones filled the air, each stroke evoking a dreamlike descent down the rabbit hole. Around the midpoint, the melody soars into a higher register, producing what he likens to a soothing brain tickle, a tactile kind of musical euphoria. The performance embodies the spontaneous beauty and mystery of rainbow nights, where at 3 a.m., magic can emerge from anywhere, and sound itself becomes a shared dream. For Rennick, the track's title reflects its surreal, looping feel, a fiddler's dream that lingers long after the final note fades, a sonic portal between waking and wonder. Faye Adinda, Let My Light Shine Through describes an uplifting and soul-stirring performance recorded at the 2023 New Hampshire Rainbow Gathering in the White Mountain National Forest near Berlin, during the July 4th variety show at Granola Funk Theater. Performed by Faye Adinda, the song, Let My Light Shine Through radiates spiritual warmth and resilience, blending elements of gospel, folk, and soul into a heartfelt anthem of perseverance and inner illumination. Rennick reflects on how Faye's message, I'm going to let my light shine through, embodies the rainbow ideal of hope and unity amid hardship, particularly in the rain-soaked, muddy conditions of that year's gathering. The performance becomes both personal affirmation and collective prayer, encouraging listeners to face global and emotional darkness with compassion and courage. As voices joined the refrain, the song transformed the damp night into a moment of glowing connection, an auditory reminder that even in crisis, love and light remain inexhaustible sources of strength. Wind Chimes Chime in Eye is a serene and whimsical interlude recorded at the 2019 Wisconsin Rainbow Gathering in the Checkmagon-Nicollet National Forest near Iron River, later featured on the Wisconsin 2019 compilation. The piece begins with Tenali recounting how he discovered a set of homemade wind chimes at a rural yard sale, crafted from fishing lures and line, which he later hung from a tree near Cant Hook Lake to capture the wind's music. The short field recording, just under 2 minutes, consists solely of the chimes ringing naturally in the breeze, transforming chants into melody. What follows is a whimsical, pseudo-Shakespearean fantasy in which a mythical rainbow imaginarium convenes to issue playful consensus decrees about reality, such as water is wet and the self is but an illusion, blending satire, mysticism, and humor. The section captures Rennick's signature style, part sound art, part dreamscape, where a simple natural sound becomes an opening into imaginative worlds, reminding readers that even the wind's voice carries the spirit of rainbow play, reflection, and wonder. Trio, Harmony captures a luminous moment of spontaneous musical unity recorded at the 2021 Pennsylvania Prism Rainbow Gathering in the Allegheny National Forest near Ridgeway, featured on the Pennsylvania Prism 2021 compilation. Performed during a July 3 pizza night and open mic at Lovin' Ovens Light, the piece was sung by 3 women who had just met earlier that day on a trail, their voices blending effortlessly into an invocation of peace and beauty. The evening, emceed by the late Gladys, unfolded in laughter, music, and shared warmth around a campfire, a celebration of connection as fresh pizza and stories were passed around. Rennick reflects on the concept of harmony itself, its roots in the Greek harmos, joint or joining, its balance between dissonance and resolution, and its expression as both musical and communal concord. The trio's performance, described as honey sweet and mellifluous, becomes a metaphor for the rainbow ethos of unity through diversity, where distinct voices find consonance amid the chaos of the world. The section closes with imagery of moonlit sound and dreamlike renewal, framing harmony as both song and symbol, a testament to how fleeting encounters can resonate as eternal echoes of peace. Tilde caret, tilde v tilde caret, tilde serves as a brief, meditative coda to Part 1, a sound trail, embodying Tenali's fusion of poetry, sound, and contemplative play. The title's abstract symbols, suggesting waves, vibrations, or breath, reflect the piece's focus on flow, impermanence, and attunement. Presented as a minimalist prose poem, it reads like a sonic haiku, evoking imagery of wind, water, and cyclical motion while hinting at the invisible rhythms connecting all things. The section functions as a tonal reset after the exuberance of previous recordings, guiding readers and listeners inward toward silence and reflection. In closing this part of the book, Rennick uses tilde caret tilde v tilde caret tilde as both a visual and auditory metaphor for the journey of field recording itself, a continual rise and fall of sound and stillness, creation and listening, reminding us that harmony is not a fixed state, but an ever-moving current between presence and pause. Part 2, Doin' the Dishes serves as the poetic coda to the book, closing the sonic and spiritual journey of the Rainbow Gathering with elemental reflection and whimsical reverence. It opens with an invocation to the four elements: earth, water, air, and fire, each described as part of the self: earth mine own course, water mine own blood, air mine own breath, and fureth mine own spirit, symbolizing unity between body and nature. The tone blends gratitude, humor, and ritual, suggesting that even mundane acts like doing the dishes are sacred gestures in the cycle of communal life and renewal. This section, accompanied by artwork from Oscar Uribarras, functions as both grounding and transcendence, a playful, earthy acknowledgement of the everyday work that sustains the dream of togetherness. In essence, it transforms the closing of a gathering into a moment of elemental communion, celebrating the balance between spirit and labor, play and purpose, dream and reality. P.S. Dataway acts as a light-hearted, reflective postscript to the book, blending gratitude, humor, and rainbow-style wordplay to bring the journey full circle. Written in Tenali's signature poetic voice, it feels like a farewell campfire chat, part thank you note, part cosmic wink. The title phrase, Dataway, echoes the rainbow vernacular, that's the way, encapsulating the spirit of acceptance, flow, and ease that runs through the gatherings. In this closing note, Rennick thanks the countless contributors, musicians, and wanderers whose songs and stories form the book's living archive, while gently reminding readers that the work, and the magic, never really ends. The tone shifts between heartfelt and mischievous, closing with a wink toward the infinite play of sound and silence. Ultimately, P.S. Dataway serves as both benediction and reminder, the rainbow ethos, of creativity, compassion, and deep listening, lives on wherever people gather to make music, share stories, and simply be Dataway. PPS Brook Flows to Sea serves as the lyrical and meditative final epilogue to the book, a poetic reflection that merges sound, nature, and consciousness into a closing gesture of flow and return. Written in Tenali's fluid, stream of consciousness style, it envisions a brook as both a literal waterway and a metaphor for perception, the act of seeing as a form of being carried. The title itself plays on words: brook flows to sea, suggesting the eternal movement from source to ocean, self to collective, sound to silence. Through this metaphor, Rennick ties together the book's central themes: impermanence, connection, and the harmony of natural cycles mirrored in human creativity. The passage ends not with finality but with openness, inviting readers to continue listening, to the world, to one another, and to the subtle music always flowing beneath experience. In essence, PPS Brook Flows to Sea is both a farewell and a renewal, an invitation to dissolve back into the current of life, where every sound and story continues downstream. PPPS Big Tiny Adieu serves as Tenali's playful and heartfelt final farewell, blending humor, humility, and wonder in true rainbow spirit. The title itself, Big Tiny Adieu, captures the paradox at the heart of the book, an epic goodbye delivered with gentle simplicity, echoing the ethos that even the smallest acts and sounds can carry vast meaning. Written as a poetic coda, This section reads like a warm closing monologue at the end of a gathering, part thank you, part wink, part blessing. Rennick expresses gratitude to the countless voices, songs, and serendipitous moments that shaped the journey, affirming that the creative flow of sound and community continues beyond the page. With its whimsical rhythm, affectionate self-awareness, and reverence for the everyday sacred, PPP's Big Tiny Adieu transforms departure into continuity, an open-ended goodbye that, much like the gatherings themselves, dissolves back into the living music of the world. The acknowledgments and about section closes the book with heartfelt gratitude and reflection, grounding Tenali's vast sound journey in community and collaboration. Rennick thanks the countless musicians, poets, and wanderers who shared their voices and stories at rainbow gatherings across the world, emphasizing that this book, and the recordings it draws from, exist only through their generosity and collective creativity. He extends special appreciation to those who labor in unseen but essential ways, such as cleanup crews who restore the land after gatherings, honoring the rainbow principle of respect for nature. The section also includes a brief biography. Rennick is a field recordist, sound designer, and radio producer, creator of Muddy Boots Radio and Sounds from the Rainbow, both archives of grassroots sonic storytelling. He dedicates the book to deep listening, creative expression, and the ongoing discovery of beauty within community. The tone is humble, loving, and open, a final bow that turns the spotlight back toward the shared spirit that made the project possible. Undulating Universal Union of Ubiquitous You serves as the poetic and philosophical epilogue to Gathering Sounds 2, a lyrical invocation that fuses mysticism, humor, and self-realization. Presented as a rhythmic poem, part benediction, part riddle, it celebrates the boundless, interconnected nature of being, inviting the reader to awaken to their role within the ever-flowing cosmos. Through playful yet profound language, oh, owl, owl on the tree, who's the fairest Mandela effect of them all? Tenali Rennick weaves together cosmic imagery, pop cultural absurdity, and spiritual wisdom, echoing the Rainbow Gathering's ethos of unity through paradox. The poem closes with a call to authenticity, and become who you are, for there are no guarantees, urging readers to live courageously within the mystery of existence. Both ecstatic and tongue-in-cheek, Undulating Universal Union of Ubiquitous You encapsulates the book's essence, that creativity, laughter, and love are the infinite vibrations binding all beings in one undulating, universal song. Map Toodaloo serves as a whimsical and poetic farewell, acting as both an outrow and a spiritual compass for Gathering Sounds 2. Written in Tenali Rennick's playful, pun-filled style, the title itself, Toodaloo, meaning goodbye, signals departure, while Map hints at direction, reflection, and return. The piece blurs the line between navigation and imagination, suggesting that the journey through sound, nature, and community doesn't truly end, it simply transforms. Through rhythmic wordplay and looping imagery, Rennick encourages readers to embrace the unknown, to wander without clinging to maps or destinations, trusting intuition and the flow of experience as their guide. In essence, Map Toodaloo is a gentle goodbye wrapped in laughter and lyricism, a reminder that the path of listening continues long after the last page, winding onward like a melody fading into the forest, never lost, only evolving.